What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. We need to talk because Guerlain just launched some new blushes. These are part of their Terracotta range. They are the Terracotta Healthy Glow blushes. I have all 6 shades in the range, and we are going to be doing a full review. I have daylight swatches, I have comparisons, I have demos, and of course, I will be sharing all of my completely honest thoughts. So if you want to hang out with me today, hear about these new blushes and whether or not they are worth the hefty $55 price tag, then keep watching. All right, friends, let's dive in, shall we? These are the Guerlain Terracotta Healthy Glow powder blushes. They retail for $55, very expensive, and they come in 6 shades, all of which I will be reviewing for you here today. I feel like these are a long time coming. Wouldn't you guys agree? Comment down below and let me know what other blushes did Guerlain used to have before these. We have the meteorites, and for years we have been enjoying the Guerlain Terracotta bronzers, kind of like a cult favorite. So now we have a blush format. Yay, thank you Guerlain for giving us what we want. And on the Guerlain website it says, with its lightweight and airy texture, this long-lasting and comfortable powder blush reveals skin's natural undertones under a perfectly balanced, ultra-buildable and second skin veil of color. In these blushes, guys, you get 5 grams of product. They are made in France. They have a 12-month shelf life. They are pretty heavily fragranced. It is Guerlain. They are first and foremost a fragrance house, so pretty much all of their makeup and skincare is going to be pretty fragrance. I will tell you, however, they are talc-free for anybody who is a talc-free consumer. And guys, I will show you the packaging. Pretty standard. This is usually what we see from Guerlain. Some people told me that they thought this was a little cheap. I think it's cute. I think it's pretty. I think it's very luxe. I think it's probably even nicer than like Chanel or Dior. I don't know. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And for the most part, friends, these are going to be more of a matte formula. When I hold the blush up to direct sunlight, I do see a little bit of sparkle. I get a little blurring from these, but for the most part, guys, these are not glowy blushes. They are not even really demi-matte. There's no shimmer or anything. These are going to be more of a traditional matte texture, which you are definitely going to see in the swatches and the applications, and that is what we are going to get into next. I'm going to go shade by shade, okay? Timestamps will be down below just in case you want to come back and look at the colors. I'm going to swatch the blush. I'm going to apply the blush. Everything is filmed in natural light, okay? And then finally, for each of the blushes, what I will do is I will comically build up the color on my cheeks. So in case you have a deeper skin tone than me, you can really see like how much pigment you can get from them. They don't swatch very well because they're so finely milled, but once you get them on the cheeks, woo baby, you can really build up the color. So just wanted to kind of tee that up. Let's get into that. By the way, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Sophia and I help you shop for luxury. I am so passionate about luxury beauty and fashion. I do a lot of new makeup reviews here on my channel, lots of fun and helpful guides. So if you love luxury beauty, hit that subscribe button to join our fam because we would love to have you. And as a quick reminder, friends, I am going to be linking a shopping guide down below in the description box on where you can purchase these blushes, along with any of the makeup that is on my face today. I do usually use affiliate links, so when you shop through my links, it goes back to supporting my channel. Thank you so much. And with that, let's get back to the rest of this review. First up, we have shade 00 Light Nude, and this is described as a fresh and delicate beige pink. This is definitely the softest shade in the line. It is very natural, very light. I find that when I go in with a denser brush, I can certainly build it up. This is also the shade that I am wearing on my cheeks today, in case you were wondering. I don't recommend this at all for deeper skin tones. I really just don't think you're gonna get a lot of pigment from it. But if you are my skin tone or fair, I think you're really gonna like this. I get a lot of questions about what's a really nice, neutral, natural blush for every day, and I think that this one definitely fits the bill. Next up, we have shade 01, which is called Light Pink, and this is described as a soft and elegant bluish pink. This one is gonna be more mauvey, slightly more, a little bit more purpley undertones, more like a rose, whereas the 00 Light Nude, that was more of like a fresh, slightly peachy style of pink. I feel like this color is probably the most classic out of all of them in this collection, especially if you like cool tones. I know I have a lot of subscribers out there that enjoy the cool tones, or maybe you have a more cool tone complexion. I think that this is probably going to be the one that you want to pick up. Just a really nice, light, classic rose, but I still think that it can definitely be built up for more like medium skin tones. Next up, friends, we have number 02, which is Light Coral, and this is described as a a velvety apricot set off with a subtle hint of pink. Definitely think that this one is great for more of like those summertime looks if you like more warm tones. Little bit of orange there, especially compared to the previous two shades. I think that this is going to work well for a lot of skin tones. I think that, you know, as long as you have a light hand, this could look really natural for fairer tones. But if you're more of like a medium complexion, I still think you can definitely build this one up. This one, however, I will say, when I was taking a look at the other blushes in my collection, I feel like this one is the most dupable. A lot of people, a lot of brands, a lot of luxury brands are doing these light coral shades lately, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now we are getting into the deeper half of this blush range with number 03 Deep Nude, and this is described as a deep rosy brown. I don't really see this as a nude necessarily. I don't think any of the shades in this range are nude, to be honest with you. This one seems like more of a rose. I see a lot of rosiness from this, definitely a little bit of that brown, but I don't know if I would necessarily call this a nude. Nonetheless, this is such a beautiful shade. This is the shade I would have gone for if, you know, if I didn't review these here on YouTube and I was just to buy one shade. This is a Sophia shade. A lot of you guys know I love these kind of terracotta colors, and I feel like this one, compared to the other ones in my collection, like I said, it has a little bit more of that rosy character to it, so it's super romantic, very natural as long as I don't apply too much. But if you have a deeper skin tone, as you guys can see, you definitely can build it up. Next up, we have number 04, which is Deep Pink, and this is described as a mysterious plum pink. I don't know why it's mysterious. Maybe it's mysterious because it's really not pink at all. It's more of like a plum. It's more of like a berry tone shade. But hey, you guys know I absolutely love berry toned blushes, so I am here for this one. And I definitely think that this one is the most pigmented one from the bunch. If you have a deeper skin tone, if you have rich chocolate skin, I think you're really going to like this. I think it's gonna be so gorgeous and flattering. I like it on myself, but I will say, guys, I have to be careful, okay? I have to be careful not to look like a clown because this shade really packs a punch. To me, it is more of a purple than a pink, however, as I mentioned. And lastly, we have number 05 Deep Coral, and this is described as a vibrant and warm coral. Warm it definitely is, vibrant it definitely is. I think that this is going to work great for those of you out there that have more of like that warmer medium to deep skin tone. However, I really like this as well. I've been wearing this color a lot lately. We've been having some warm weather here where I live, and I feel like this is really kind of giving me those summertime vibes. I love to mix it with other, you know, bronzers and types of powders in my collection. I don't, however, think that you need to get both the light coral and the warm coral. I feel like the tones are pretty similar. I would just pick whichever range you want. Do you want something lighter? Do you want something warmer and more vibrant? So I just wanted to call that out, guys. I feel like these are the two closest shades in the collection where like you really don't need to get both. Save your $55. All right, friends, I hope that all this has been helpful so far. Now we're gonna have a little bit of fun and do some luxury blush comparisons. That's right, I'm gonna put these new blushes from Guerlain up against some of my favorite blushes in my luxury makeup collection. And let me tell you, if you are new here, I have a lot of blushes, okay? So I've got Chanel, I have Dior, I have Gucci, Armani. I have a whole bunch to compare for you all today. I am going to be focusing more so on the formula, I will say that. Not going to do a bunch of color comparisons because let's be real, guys, we've seen these colors before. I'm here to remind you, stop buying the same colors, try and go for something different. We don't all need another rose blush, another coral, a berry, a pink. Pick something that you don't already have in this style of formula. So let's see how the formula compares up against these other luxury blushes. And to kick things off, I've given myself an easy comparison to start, and that is with the RMS Hydra Powder blushes. As you guys could have guessed, these are so much glowier than the ones from Guerlain. These are the glowiest ones that I have in my collection, or at least some of the most. They have quite the sheen and a lot of pigmentation. A lot of the colors are very bright. What you are seeing in the comparison swatches right here is the 02 Light Coral from Guerlain versus the RMS Bohemian Girls. Hopefully you guys can tell in the natural light there. These are so much more glowy. The Guerlain ones I think are good, you know, if you have like a fairer complexion and you want to start off with something that is more like a wash of color and then build it up, that's what they are good for. The ones from RMS, they're a lot more pigmented right out of the gate. Next we have the Gucci blushes, and right here you see a comparison of 00 Light Nude from Guerlain versus the Gucci Silky Rose. The Gucci blushes are also glowier. They are more of like that silky demi-matte type of formula, if you like something that is more matte and also a little bit more long wearing, I would go with the Guerlain. You're gonna notice here that the blushes from Gucci, they swatch more pigmented because they're not that buildable. They are more pigmented right out of the gate, just like the RMS. So once again, if you like something that is more like a sheer wash of color, I would probably go with the Guerlain. And also, you can really build the Guerlain up. So if you want something that's like very, very pigmented, but still kind of like a lighter tone of color, that's also something that the Guerlain are really good for. Next up, friends, we have the blushes from Dior, and these are the reformulated ones. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't have a good color comparison, but hopefully this will help for the formulation comparison. I have 02 Light Coral from Guerlain versus Dior Grage, which is, I know, a little bit more of a nude. But in terms of the formula, guys, I will say the new Guerlain blushes, they probably remind me the most of the newly reformulated Dior blushes, but I feel like they're a little bit easier to blend. I feel like they're a little bit easier to work with. I would like to see more shades in the Guerlain, just like we see from Dior. Dior has so many shades of all of their products, like their blushes and their lipsticks, which is really nice. But the formula, the new formula, it is a lot drier than what we used to get. I think I like the Guerlain ones more, but I like the colors from Dior better. The other thing that I like about the Dior blushes that makes them unique from other ones in my collection is that they have really, really good longevity, and a lot of you guys have told me the same. I will say, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in my final thoughts, the ones from Guerlain, they have just as much longevity. They're incredibly, incredibly long wearing. So they're pretty similar, guys, but if I had to choose just based off of formula, I think I would pick the Guerlain blushes. Did you think I forgot the Dior Backstage blushes? Oh no, my friends, I remembered to swatch these as well. I almost forgot. Right here I have a comparison with 02 Light Coral from Guerlain versus the Dior Backstage Coral. I would say between these two, the Guerlain are definitely more pigmented. Similar to the other line of blushes, Dior reformulated these, and unfortunately, guys, they kind of ruined them. The new ones are not as pigmented. They're a little bit chalky. They're not super easy to blend. I really just don't reach for them all that much. I thought I would like them a lot more than the other line, but I actually reach for the other Dior blushes a lot more. So I would definitely go with the Guerlain Coral or any of the other shades that are in the line over the ones from Dior Backstage. Similar to the Dior, I also really wanted to compare the Guerlain blushes up against these ones from Giorgio Armani. These are the Armani Beauty Luminous Silk blushes. They came out last year, and these are also like a pretty matte formula. I don't know, I didn't feel like they were all that glowy at all, guys. I'll show you here a comparison with the 05 Deep Coral from Guerlain versus the Armani Offbeat. The color is almost exact. It looks like a dupe, guys. Okay, I feel like I did pretty well on that one. I will say though, you know, the Armani blushes, I've had them for a while now. I don't really like them. I don't really reach for them. They feel really nice when you go to swatch them. Like, they feel better than the Guerlain ones because they're more finely milled, but because of that, they're kind of hard to blend. I feel like I get too much pigment like stuck to my foundation or my bronzer as I'm blending it out. So they tend to get a little bit patchy. I feel like the ones from Guerlain, I know that they swatch more sheer, but you can build them up a lot more easily and they just kind of go on a little bit more seamlessly. So I would definitely go with the Guerlain over the Armani. Next up, we have the Chanel blushes, and I know that Chanel comes out with a lot of different blush formulas, so I tried to pick a very classic formula in color. This is Chanel Jersey up against 02 Light Coral from Guerlain. Once again, I know the colors don't match, but in terms of a formula comparison, I will say that the Guerlain blushes, they kind of have that sheerness of the Chanel ones, but in my opinion, they are a lot more buildable and also a lot more long lasting. I feel like I can really build up the color on my cheeks if I want. So if you felt like the ones from Chanel, they just really didn't have enough pigment for you, I would definitely check out the ones from Guerlain. I do also think that typically the ones from Chanel, again, it does depend on the shade. I feel like these have a little bit more of a sheen, like they're a little bit more demi-matte. So just kind of keep that in mind. The ones from Guerlain are going to be slightly more matte. And like I said, Chanel keeps coming out with a lot of different blush formulas. We saw the Winter Glow blushes from last season. They are not similar at all to the ones from this line from Guerlain. However, a lot of people asked me to compare this new blush from the Spring 2024 collection. This is the Powder Blush Duo in Roses Coquillage. I can definitely see why you guys want a comparison, because as you guys can see from this lay of the blushes, the colors are all very, very similar. We've got like the coral, we've got the roses. Okay, so you kind of have an idea of all of those tones. and then looking here at the swatches, guys, I've got the light coral, the deep coral, the light pink, the light nude from Guerlain versus the 2 shades from the Chanel Duo. If you guys watched my Chanel Spring 2024 full review, you will know I really don't like this blush, okay? I don't recommend it. If you liked the colors, get one of the ones from Guerlain or get 2 and you can kind of create your own, you know, Chanel Duo. Maybe this is sold out. In fact, I think it is sold out in a lot of boutiques. It's not very pigmented. It's not very blendable. I don't think the texture is particularly that nice. It was really, really hard for me to even swatch this blush. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of this blush, okay? Hopefully you can tell from the swatches that it just really doesn't have a lot of oomph. At least the ones from Guerlain, they are buildable. Like, you can get that pigment if you want it. This blush from Chanel, I just, yeah, I don't really recommend it, okay? You get the picture. And lastly, we cannot forget Mother Pat McGrath. I love her blushes. I have pretty much every single one, and I thought it would be fun to compare for you here. 01 Light Pink from Guerlain versus the Pat McGrath iconic Divine Rose. Similar color, guys, right? I feel like I did pretty well on this one. If you already have Divine Rose, please don't get this color from Guerlain. You don't need another rose blush. Let's buy different colors here. I do think that the formulas are very, very different. The Pat McGrath ones, you know, they definitely have like a silkier feel. Most of them have more of like that demi-matte type of texture. I have to be honest with you guys, I like the Pat McGrath ones better. I just really like the Pat McGrath blushes. I like the pigmentation and that sort of like silky feel. However, I will say I think that the Guerlain ones are probably longer lasting and they're more buildable. You can tell from the swatches that the Pat McGrath blushes, they're just like more pigmented out of the gate and they are designed to be so. Whereas, like I've said a million times, the ones from Guerlain, they have more of like that buildable finish. Woo! All right, friends, I know that was a lot, but now it is time for my final thoughts. Given everything that I've shown you so far in this review, the comparisons, the swatches, the demos, everything, what do I think of these new blushes from Guerlain? I'm going to do my best to kind of tell you guys the pros and the cons and who I think that these are for. Now, in general, guys, I like these. I think that they're really nice. I've been testing them out for, I want to say, a little bit over a week now. I've tested all of the shades, and I will say I do think that they are quite nice. I think that these are the perfect summertime type of formula. I think that if you like the Guerlain bronzers, the terracotta bronzers, you're really going to like the blushes because the formula is pretty much the same. Like, the blendability is very similar. The bronzers are a cold favorite. A lot of you guys like them. I think that if you can find a shade that works for you, they're really nice. And I think the same thing about the blushes. It's a really nice matte summertime finish that lasts all day. Right now, I am wearing the lightest shade, 00. I put this on my cheeks at like, I don't know, 8 a.m. this morning when I was getting ready for work. And I've been working all day. It is just 5 p.m. right now, okay? And it is still on my cheeks. I feel like I can totally see the color. I think it looks beautiful. Really great way to set your makeup. I think it's a really nice long-lasting formula. Now, like I said in the comparison section, friends, I think these are probably the most similar to the newly reformulated Dior blushes. I like this formula just a little bit better. I think it's a little bit easier to work with and to blend, and you still get that amazing longevity. However, I do like the color range a lot more with Dior. It's really hard to beat their color range. I think that these, you know, when you feel them in the pan, they don't feel as silky as like the Armani blushes, for example, or the Gucci blushes. But once you get them on the cheeks, I really like the look of them. I think that they look natural. And like I said, this is kind of what I would go for in the summertime when it's hot. Maybe I'm going out and it's going to be a little bit, you know, sweaty situation and I want the blush to last all day. It's a really great summertime companion or anytime that the weather is a little bit warm. I also really like the fact that they gave us a range of both light shades and deeper shades. As you guys saw from the demo, I think that you can make all of these shades look really beautiful and natural, but I also really appreciate that they do have pigmentation. You can build them up, so it's a little bit more inclusive. Would love to hear your thoughts and feedback about that in the comment section down below, because, you know, your opinion is worth just as much as mine. But personally, I feel like you can build these up, which is really great. We don't always see that from luxury brands, unfortunately. I would say that the two main critiques that I have about these blushes is, number one, I wish there were more traditionally nude shades, and number two, I wish that the shades were just a little bit more unique, because while I really like the formula and I do like the colors that they picked out, okay, I think they were trying to go for more of like a spring and summer type of vibe. I know that so many of my subscribers out there, as do I, just love a classic nude blush. I don't really think that the two, where are they? The two nude shades in this line. Where are you? Where are you? Here it is, here it is. I don't think that the two nude shades in this collection are particularly nude. They look very pink, very rosy to me. And I think that if they had given us something that was more brown toned or like a brownie rose, which I guess they tried to do that here, I think that color would sell out. I think that it would be the perfect, long-lasting, matte, summertime go-to blush. So Guerlain, okay, you need to expand the blush range. All right, I'm looking at you. I'm gonna give you a chance to expand it. I think that the colors are nice, but I would have liked to have seen something more in like the nude category, because even if the colors are not that unique, at least you know if it's like a nude blush, you can get a lot of use out of it for the $55. I didn't really focus so much on comparing the colors with these blushes, guys, because, you know, I looked through my collection and there just are a lot of dupes for the different shades that are here. I probably could dupe a lot of the shades with like the Gucci and the Pat McGrath. It's just that the finish and the texture is very different. So I think that they're beautiful. For me, I think that they're worth it. I don't really have a lot of matte blushes in my collection. Would I repurchase them if I was just like a regular consumer and I didn't have a YouTube channel? I think I would, but I probably would pick just one. You know, one, maybe two if I really like the formula. You don't need to go crazy and get all of them like I did, but I think that they're a really nice blush. Don't spend, you know, like $300 like I did buying the whole entire collection. Just get one if you're a big fan of Guerlain, if you like the texture and you want something matte, very long lasting, and you feel like you're gonna get a lot of use out of the color that you chose. So in summary, friends, are these an absolute must-have? Do you have to run out and get these ASAP? Are they something completely different from what we have in our collections? No, okay, no, but it's getting harder to make something that is truly new in this luxury market, and I feel like if, you know, you're in the market for something like this, you're not going to be disappointed. I think it's good quality. I think it is worth it. But as always, friends, go into your collection, take a look at what you have. Don't waste your money on buying the same thing over and over. That is just a little reminder for you all. And now it is your turn, friends. Sound off in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this release. Did you pick up these blushes? Do you agree with my assessment? I would love to hear all of your thoughts. And did I sway you either way to get them or to not get them? Either way is good with me. I just want to hear what you all think. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.